the one constant in my life has always been my love of writing. Eventually, I understood that writing could be used as a tool for creating change in the world, and that's kind of what led me to the Cramm. This thing that I just love doing, I could actually use to try to make an impact to make the world a better place. My name is Olivia Seltzer, I'm 17 years old, and I'm the founder of the Cramm. The Cramm is basically Gen Z's version of the news. Traditional news doesn't really connect with my generation, and primarily that's because of a context barrier, a language barrier, and also a barrier in the kind of medium in which it's being presented. And I think that there is still this huge gap in the media when it comes to news for Gen Z, and it's really just my biggest goal in life to try to fill that gap as best I can. I was 12 when the 2016 US presidential election took place, and I went to a junior high school where the majority of the students are Latinx, and many of their parents are undocumented immigrants. There was definitely a lot of talk about our government and about politics and about where our country was headed. All we could talk about was the election. But at the same time, I noticed that none of us were actually reading or watching the news because it's primarily written by and geared towards an older demographic, and it unfortunately wasn't just really connecting with my age group. And I saw this as a really big problem because you can't change the world unless you know about it. I saw that my peers had this huge interest in the world and in wanting to inform themselves and make a difference, but we didn't really have this outlet or these resources. So since I've always loved writing, I was like, okay, why don't I create that? Every day I wake up at 5 a.m. to read the news, pile up a bunch of headlines, and then rewrite the news in a way that completely connects to my generation. So I write it exactly how I talk to my friends. Instead of using this more academic word, why can't I say BTW or FYI, but in a way that still feels very natural. So on February 1st, 2017, I sent out the very first ever newsletter of the Cramm. And since then, we've grown to 113 countries around the world. We have 2.5 million monthly readers across all platforms. We have about 500 ambassadors all over the world who help spread the word and also help with graphic design, who help make TikToks and IGTV videos and podcasts. It's just been so incredible to see. We have young people who started clubs at their school and read the Cramm and then take a monthly action based on what they read in the Cramm to try to raise awareness about a topic. It's really just been the most incredible response. The immediate next step for the Cramm is finishing up my book, Cramm This Book, which comes out spring 2022, and a 24-hour live news site with journalists and correspondents all over the world and live coverage as events are happening around the world, really to kind of give like what you would get from traditional media, but still entirely by and for Gen Z. Hello everyone. Thank you all so much for joining this call. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to start brainstorming like with all the team leaders or representatives from the team and just brainstorming like what 2021 for the Cramm is going to look like. So thank you. I absolutely believe in the power of young people. We're in this position where we have the ability to be more powerful than any other generation before us. We actually have the tools and resources to make our dreams a reality. The fact that when I was like 12, 13 years old, I myself was able to design a website, create a social media account, and just start writing a newsletter that eventually millions of people were reading is incredible, and people of other generations wouldn't have been able to do that. I was always raised to be like, kindness is the most important thing, and that there's no purpose to life if you're not trying to put more good into the world. So just even knowing that I'm maybe having that kind of impact is just the best thing to me.